right. So welcome to today. Today I wanted to talk about stop negotiating cash for land. This is based off a point that I think um, every land seller will seller finance something, one thing, 10%, 20%, 50%. A land seller will seller finance something. So um, I am digging deeper into seller finance land, and I'm looking for more opportunities that are seller finance. So I created a graphic which I will put uh, into the chat. But for everybody listening to this, if you want my uh, if you want access to this, you can text 210-972-1842 and I'll put a keyword in under this video. So and I'll make it negotiate is the word. Here we go. That's the word. Negotiate 210-972-1842. It's not automated yet, but it will be by the time this video releases. So essentially, I'm going to go to how to negotiate better for land. Every seller will take some type of seller finance. I don't care if it's 100%, 50%, 75%, 25%, 10%. They're going to take some seller finance. If they take seller finance, you can create a better opportunity for your buyer. So, and the reason why I'm going with this is that everybody wants to wholesale land and everybody wants to wholesale land to cash buyers, but you open up your buyer pool when you negotiate seller finance. And me personally, I am looking for seller financed opportunities that may not be a cash price, but they are seller financed, and I'm monetizing in other ways. So for everybody here, I'm going to kind of go through a sample conversation, and I'll put these graphics for everybody here so you guys can download them. In fact, I'll do it right now so you guys can follow along. But for everybody here, I have a sample conversation on how to negotiate better. So remember, if you guys have come from wholesaling houses, you guys know you have to provide a deal for your end buyer that he can finance, whether he has a hard money lender, and where you get your basis of those terms, that 60, 70% ARV minus your assignment fee, minus your uh, estimated repairs. This is kind of off that same synopsis. So I'm putting it in, into the chat for you guys so you guys can follow along. And the files are there. But this files will be available as well in the future. So um, main thing is that most land funding, I know because I've talked to a lot of them, they will fund 50% to value. 50%. So what does that mean? You get $100,000 deal, you get a 50 grand. You can sell that deal, but you can get that deal financed, but you can't necessarily sell it because you got to get your assignment fee, right? So um, if you're trying to get an assignment fee on your transactions, you got to be as close to 50% value. And where I will go with this, and I think the person that understands this the most is Daniel Burke Aguero, which he just left for whatever reason. He sold me a deal a few months ago, but yeah, you got to essentially sell the deal where you know somebody else can get it financed is the main thing. So if it's going to be cash, you need to be 50 cents on the dollar minus your fee. And your fee is going to be determined by what you can negotiate on that 50% of value. Now, everybody's 50% of value is going to be completely different. And I've covered this with, I think, Bill and Duke separately. Is everybody's 50% of ARV completely different. So you have to be conservative on your 50% of value when you're underwriting. And this is all based off of the value you can create. So essentially you need to find 30 to 40% deals and you'll make a lot of money in assignment fees. Yes, you can find buyers that'll pay more, but they're going to be a lot harder to find. So it comes down to how much time you need to close and who you're going to wholesale it to. You're going to find a retail buyer. If you're trying to sell it to a cash buyer, most of the time they're going to want a discount because they can get funding for it. So on the seller finance side, we can pay a little bit more, but you got to get some type of terms. And the terms I'm looking for is 5 years plus. So I'm going to go through this how to negotiate better because I think it covers what I want to cover today. Um, Here we go. So I made this for you guys. So, how to negotiate better terms or pricing based off of financial backing. So, number one, your role is identifying and presenting deals that align with lenders' criteria. You're going to sell a lot more opportunities if you find that. Now, for me, cash deals, 50 cents on the dollar, kind of covered that. Seller financing, I'm looking for deals with terms that result in 3% or lower effective interest rate. And that can include creative structures like equal payments or other low interest rate financing strategies. Negotiating for better pricing, you got to ask the right questions. Find out what their seller is selling and are motivated and their motivation in financial distress or just tired of holding the property. Everybody is selling something for a reason. I was talking to a wholesaler today. The the seller is liquidating their property because they're 85 years old and they just want to divvy up the cash to their heirs today. I told them about seller financing, about divvying the cash in the future, but they want to divvy up the cash today. So they're going to pay a huge tax implication on that cash, and they'll divvy it up today, which is their own prerogative. But you need to figure out you need to build rapport and figure out, dig deep to what the seller's motivation is. What are they going to buy with it? It could be a car, it could be a boat, it could be another property, it could be a rental. They're going to sell their land into what are they going into? That's always the question. What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with the money? Remember that. These sellers are going to buy something. Just like if you sign a deal for $10,000, you already know what you're going to spend that $10,000 on. Everybody does. So you got to understand what are they going to do with the money because everybody has a place where they're going to place that money. Um, Sellers love cash deals because they're quick and easy. Use this to your advantage. Um, Start your offers below 50% of the property value so you have room to negotiate up while still staying within the criteria. This is a big one. I see land deals all the time from wholesalers, and please send them, but this whole training is so you can make better offers and bring better opportunities to the marketplace. I guarantee you, if you bring and get good deals, you will not have a problem selling them. Bottom line, you will not have a problem selling land deals, no matter how big they are. If you get the right terms or the right pricing, it will move, guaranteed. Um, this is a basic one, but offer to cover closing costs, anchor low. Um, yeah, I think it was the next one. Structuring seller finance. Yeah, okay, this is one. So what do you structure on seller finance? Basic one is equal payments. 180 equal payments, 360 equal payments, 400 equal payments, whatever it is. You get a $100,000 property, 100 equal payments at 1,000. Real simple math. You never mention interest. It's always equal payments because you can divide 100 divided by 100,000 divided by 100 and you get $1,000 a month. So it's very simple math. Doesn't include interest. Not everybody has a amortization calculator like I do. So you can, if you talk about equal payments, it's uh, almost signified as 0% interest. Um, Now, you can offer long-term financing, negotiating terms beyond 5 years. This is a big one for me. I like longer debt, longer than 5 years. I will do shorter debt, but if you can negotiate longer than 5 year debt, it's interesting. Now, the biggest thing about negotiating long-term debt is you want to do as little down as possible, and I can do a bigger down, but the main things you want to dig on is zero or low interest, interest only. You can dig into low monthly payments. You can dig into low annual payments. You can dig into a lower price with higher payments. Like you can dig into a lot of different ways to adjust the numbers. Um, Offer small monthly payments for 7 years with a large lump sum at the end. I've seen something creative where they offered like 500 a month for 10 years and then a balloon of 150,000 and it was like on 180,000, but 500 a month is 6,000 a year. It doesn't really cost a lot of money for that money. And then if they got it for 10 years, you structure it however you want. Balloon payments, I like balloons. I don't like fully amortized loans. So um, I had a I had a deal recently. They like, oh, I want a 10-year term. Okay, 10 years is cool. What's the amortization? Oh, it's a 10-year financing on 10 years. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't interest me. Because then you're paying huge payments for 10 years. So you want to get your term for as long as possible. And what I do is I do flat payments. So like I might do I'll do like I do this quick math. So if you have a calculator, you do 100,000 divided by 360, or let's say 360,000 divided by $360,000 a month, right? I will come out to a number right around there that makes sense. So $360,000 property, I'm gonna offer $1,000 a month. 360 divided by 360,000 divided by 360, you're gonna come out to 1,000 a month. No matter what the number is, I divide it by 360, it could be $1 million, or 360,000, or 3.6 million. I'm gonna do whatever that cash flow is at 0%, and then I'll, depending on how big the property is, I may go up or down. So if let's say it's $100,000, I may go up. So if it's like 880, I might go, hey, let's make it 1,000. So it sounds like it's a good payment, you know. You might want to go to even numbers. If it's 495, go to 500. If it's 550, go to 500. You just want to make it simple payments. So I do this with bigger assets or smaller assets. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of go up or down based off of whatever that monthly payments. And then what I like to do is I do like to do an annual. So let's say it comes out to 1,000 a month. Hey, can I give you 12,000 a year? So that's kind of where my offers come from when I'm doing creative. Uh, Equal payments, long-term financing, balloon payments, creative collateral options. Those are another thing I'm messing with. But you can dig into this stuff. Text needs a high interest rate. Offer high purchase price in exchange for 0% interest. Um, let's say they want $100,000 and they want 5% interest. Hey, can I add 5% to the purchase price? What's 5% of 100? It's 5,000. So hey, can I pay 105 for this? Simple little tricks to to kind of pay a higher price to get a lower interest rate. Um, Deferred payments. This is a great one. No payments for 6, 12 months, 24 months, 18 months, 36 months, whatever you want. So I usually like doing deferred payments when I put a large down payment. So usually I'm trying to put 10 to 20% down. And if a seller wants more than 20%, I usually go with, hey, can I have no payments for 12 months? No payments for 5 months, no payments for 24 months. If I give you this large lump sum, you don't need any payments, right? Um, Graduated payments, offer smaller payments up front, then gradually increase them over time. That works great. Hey, I'll give you 500 a month for 18 months, and I'll give you 750 for 18 months after that. Um, so you can raise their payments. And they think they're making more money, but it kind of hides, it kind of negotiates, and most people are looking at what the cash flow is going to be and what the down payment is going to be. Let's look for in properties. Great properties at a great price. They should be located in growing and high demand areas with significant equity built into the deal. You will never have a problem selling your deal if they're in a great location. Bottom line. Ugly properties in ugly locations, you're gonna have a hard time selling that. You're gonna have a hard time finding a buyer for that deal. Now, these deals are still opportunities. I'm not saying don't make offers, but still make your offers. But you need to be way below 50 cents on the dollar, and you need to have good terms. But I usually don't look at very many ugly properties, and sometimes I don't even make offers on ugly properties. And me personally, but ugly properties I just don't want to deal with. I want to deal with great properties in great areas for a great price or great terms. And if you do that, you will not be in a bind. Your profits in the assignment. The more you save on the purchase price and improve the terms, the more you can make. Your assignment fee structure will reward you for bringing deals that meet or exceed the criteria. Um, I have a deal right now under contract. I'm paying, I think, like $80,000 in assignment fee. Uh, and it's a great deal. It's a great opportunity. So you need to dig deep into what terms and what, especially if you're trying to wholesale. The whole point of this is I want you to get to a point where you can buy yourself, and that's for everybody here. I want to get you to a point where you can buy yourself. So if you learn how to find great deals, eventually you get to a point where you buy yourself. And then if you have a deal that's tricky on seller finance, bring them to me. We'll help you structure. Me and my team are working on structuring opportunities like this. Our main things were really digging into 5 years seller financing with interest. I'm negotiating a deal right now. It's like 5% interest only. So it doesn't really matter. I do break my own rules sometimes, but it really depends on what the asset is and where it fits on. navigating the offer. So I think I cover that in the next strategy, next on the next slide. But essentially, if it's undervalued significantly, I don't mind paying a higher interest rate. But you need to understand what the value is when you're getting seller finance and what the exit strategy is going to be. And this is for all asset classes, but you really got to understand what the value is worth. Um, what kind of deal is the 80K assignment? It's 24 acres. It's 24 acres with a mobile home. I'm not gonna say where, but it's got a big chunk on it. All right, here we go. Let me jump into the next slide. Oh, I got one more. Sorry. Being reminders, focus on deals at great prices or great terms, and better deal you bring, the more deal you make. Start searching for sellers to apply to the strategies. Bring the best deals for review. I'm always looking for opportunities, and great pricing, great terms are the key to success. If you can focus on those things, you're going to do really well. But great properties in great areas is the main caveat to this. So I have a sample seller conversation here, which I put in the chat, and I will cover. This kind of covers the framing of that conversation, minus building the rapport. So, hi, Sellers Lane. Thank you for taking time to chat today. I understand you're considering selling your land. I wanted to talk you through some options to make to help with you to make this process as beneficial and possible for you. So you have a motivated seller. Of course, they're going to want to hear more. So one thing is you need to understand their goals, and I think I covered this a little bit. But what do you plan to do with the money? Are you investing it? You're planning to put it in stocks, bonds, uh, car, boat. What are they going to buy? They're going to purchase a single family, multifamily. They're going to purchase a storage. They're going to buy the vacant lot next to their house. They're going to 1031. They're going to save it. So you need to really dig into where they're going to put the capital and where they're gonna not necessarily invest it. Some people do different things. They're gonna pass it to their heirs. They're gonna divvy it up. They're gonna sit on it. I had a wholesaler today. They're like, oh, if we can't get our price, I'm just gonna pass it on when I die. Like, so will the other 1,000 people that own land that can't sell it. Like, like it's gonna happen. All right. Presenting seller financing. This is the conversation. Um, biggest thing with these sellers. This works more for higher price properties. Smaller price properties, they usually don't care. But higher price properties, they're going to care about this. And this is going to be their pain point. Their pain point is Uncle Sam. So, that's a great plan. Let me share the option that could help you maximize your return while keeping Uncle Sam's cut to a minimum, having considered leaving some money in the deal through seller financing. It's a great little line to have them leave money on the table. One of the contracts we just got last week, seller is leaving 85,000 in the deal for a 12-month balloon. So since we're going to flip it, it's less money I have to bring to the table through a hard money lender, but it helps us get the deal done. Um, so number one is tax savings. Uncle Sam, your silent partner, takes a big chunk, often 30 to 40% of taxes. So if you have $1 million property, 300 to 400 grand taxes right off the rip. Agent commissions. Like they're getting chopped right at the knees. Every time they list with an agent they sell for cash, they're getting hit hard. Hard, hard, hard. And remember, most of these properties, especially big land deals, they're owned free and clear. We've come across opportunities where they have debt on them, but that's another motivation. They have these high debt service, $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Like debt service will kill and choke anybody. Doesn't matter how much money you got, it will kill and choke anybody. And this is why land people don't like lending on land. This is why people don't buy land financed most of the time because the negative cash flow, it chokes up a lot of people. All right. So, 30-40% on capital gains is going to Uncle Sam. Are you okay with that? Have you had an opportunity to what your plan is to deal with that? Do you have a significant loss you're going to take this year that we don't have to pay as much capital gains on this? Well, no. I don't know. Most of these land sellers do not need the money. They don't need the money. If they've been sitting on 100 acres for 30 years, you think they need money? They don't need the money. They really don't need the money. their liquidation of that is for another reason, but they don't need the full. They don't. What are you gonna do with $1 million, especially when you're 80? Like, what are you gonna do with it? There's not very many things to do. So you need to um, you need to kind of put that. Hey, if you have your $1 million property, you sold it today, you get $600,000 after taxes. What are you going to do with the 600,000? You're going to go buy your Lamborghini and live and have a late midlife crisis? I don't know. Like they're not they're not most people that age aren't doing anything crazy. They're not going skydiving, they're not buying a boat, they're not buying a plane. Like they're just living at that point. So you really need to dig deep on the tax savings. Cash flow. These sellers, they like consistent income because most of them are on a fixed income, or they like consistent cash flow they can depend on. So you receive steady monthly and annual payments, creating a predictable income stream. They can pass that income stream to their kids. We see this all the time. The land gets passed to their kids, and guess who sells it for pennies on the dollar? The heirs do, because they can't use 50 acres in Dallas, but they can use 200 grand, you know? Harker, what's your question?
Sorry I joined a little late here, but I think I joined right on time. About the taxation, I like, when we compare it to like, I guess houses, if you live in it for 2 years, you get up to like 250, homestead exemption, whatever. Is that the case with land, or just no, like none there, no exceptions there? What, I might have missed that part. What is the taxation ramification with tax, like on a land
So
sale?
it's usually based off their basis. So if they inherited it, they have no basis at that point. And don't hold me to this tax strategy. This is not legal advice or tax advice. But
Yeah,
they're gonna get if they've owned it for a long time, essentially their basis is zero. So they have a huge capital gains on that investment or that inheritance when they sell. Huge, 30 to 40%. So you can punch in that calculator, it's half a million, it's gonna be 150 to
yeah,
yeah, to 200,000. If it's a million, it's 3 to 4. Like no one really know like depending on most of these guys don't have income either. Like they have other like these people that own these properties, they've been rich. Like
yeah,
they to be honest, they've been rich. So they're not counting on they don't really need a lump sum. They're just trying to secure their interests. So the main thing is you need to run them with the tax implications. Um, if they're going to invest it, I'm gonna take my $1 million property, sell it for cash for 600, and then I'm gonna invest it. It's gonna take 5 to 10 years investing that 600K to get back to $1 million.
right.
It's not really the smartest option for them. So, and you can tell them that, hey, I'm gonna invest it in XYZ. Well, it's gonna take you a long time to recoup that Uncle Sam money, and then you're back in the same boat again, making money again. Which is and then like the main thing other thing too is number three is heirs are going to receive the benefits. So a lot of times we're like I won't sell our finance because I'm going to die in the next 5 years. Well, if you have land, where's it going to go? Well, it's going to go to my heirs. Well, same thing happens to your cash flow. If you have heirs, it goes to if you have cash flow built in for X amount of years, it goes to your heirs. Would you rather make this transaction right now or let your heirs fumble the bag because they don't know land like you do? I don't know. It's up to you. So the transaction can pass to their heirs, giving them financial stability without needing to manage the land. One of the deals I'm negotiating right now, it is 2 million purchase price, a little over 2 million. I negotiated 10% down, so it's like $200,000 down. Um, they wanted like 7% interest or 6% interest. I got them down to negotiate. I'm hopefully working it out over the next few weeks, but I'll keep you updated on it. But essentially, I negotiated 5% interest only. Why is interest only important? If you guys know, interest only means whatever the amount is. Let's say it's 5%, 100,000. You have to pay $5,000 on that 100,000 annually. So essentially, if you did $100,000 interest only at 5%, you have to pay them $5,000. So some people break that apart in months. So if you do 5,000 divided by 12, it's going to be $440 or something like that. But if you do annual payments, it's just 5,000, one lump sum of 5,000. So I'm negotiating 5% interest only on 1.8, which is 92,000 a year. And that's what I negotiated. But the balance never goes down to principal. The benefit to that is they just receive the principal never goes down. So essentially, I can technically extend this loan indefinitely, and they still have 1.8 in debt. And I'm just making payments of 92 per year, 92 per year, 92 per year, 92 per year, 92 per year. And then at the end of the term, I owe them 1.8 again. Does that make sense? So, and that helps. It helps for different reasons because if I were to fully amortize 100 1.8 at 5%, it's like 120,000 or something like that. Like it's a lot of money. It adds up. So you want to make your payment as low as possible. And this is where you kind of dig in. It doesn't really matter what the interest rate is as long as you control the payments. So one of my counters I had with the seller is I was trying to get this knowing that amortization should be at 120. I offered 60,000 a year. One, because it's such a large amount, if I can negotiate a 50% payment of what that cash actually costs, it's a huge benefit to me because I can cash flow more today and they get more interest later. So knowing that it would cost me over $100,000 a year, I offered 60K a year. So it doesn't really matter what the interest rate is as long as you control the terms. And the terms are what is that money going to cost in the future? And that's why I really want to dig in today. What's the cost? How much money is that money going to be worth 10 years from now? Hmm? Inflation's 3%, $1.8 million at 3% inflation rate, and I think we had more during COVID, but average is 3%. If inflation on $1.8 million goes down 3% over 10 years, I think I did the math off my hand. It was like it knocks down that value to $1.4 million. So even though I didn't make any principal payments, the value of that 1.8 went down 400 grand. And that's the value. And then I negotiated a 10-year extension. That 1.4 or that 1.8 after 20 years is now worth $1 million. Even though I'm paying 92 a year, there's ways to monetize that, but the value of that lump sum essentially dwindles down every year and every year extends. And that's the value of interest only, because you never actually knock down the pay down. And to sellers are like, oh, my amount never goes down, my amount never goes down, but they always forget about inflation. They always forget about inflation. And this is where it comes down to where if you can structure a really good deal using interest only, using equal payments, using overpaying for the property, like this is where you're going to get a lot more opportunity. You're going to get a lot more opportunity to sell that property. And these are opportunities I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for seller finance opportunities. And I mentioned at the beginning of the calls, I'm really trying to dig into uh, land subdividing slash flipping, but really into seller financing, just because there's more opportunity in the seller financing. One thing I'll say about this is that everybody thinks uh, real estate's about ownership, and everybody's counting the doors, right? XYZ has 50 doors or 100 doors or 1,000 doors. But the real truth is how much equity they own in those doors. The way money works in the outside space is you have to go raise money. Let's say you want to buy a 50 unit. You have to go, let's say it's $5 million, right? You have to go raise, the bank will cover 60% of that, and you have to go raise 40% of that. So you have to raise 2 million out of the three, and then you're sharing equity with those co-sponsors that sponsor your deal. If the deal goes south, who gets wiped out? The people that raised the 4 million. So the bank is always secured. And I tweeted this today. The banks don't lose. The banks rarely lose. So if you can have sellers to become the bank and you go buy the assets with their bank, that's when you make a lot of money. But the main thing is you have the ability to get more real estate. And this is real estate is all about financing. I talk about this with seller financing. Land, especially land, if I sell every deal for cash, it would take me way longer if I sold every deal seller financed. So just by providing a financing opportunity to the end buyer, you're going to find buyers quicker. So and that goes along the lines of everything, literally everything. So real estate, in my opinion, is based off and built off finance. So once you understand that and you build the deals around the finance, whether you're buying or selling, that's when you can create more opportunity. All right. And then the basis of this is you gotta know how to underwrite. You gotta know how to underwrite. You gotta know what the value of that asset is worth. Um, I have my navigating the offer graphic that I've covered here in a couple calls, and I'll probably do a separate call on that. But um, you got to understand the basis of the asset and what you can actually offer for the asset, and everything else that doesn't fit in there, it just doesn't work. And cash should be your last thing you offer them to a seller. Seller finance should be something. So this deal, like I said, I just contracted a deal, and I got like it was 60% down with a 30% seller finance. I'm still doing the deal because I still got it like 60 cents in the dollar. So I knew what the value was worth. So me getting seller financing just heightens the deal and opportunity without having to bring the cash to the table. So if you know how to negotiate and negotiate the right terms, you can really create win-win scenarios. But the one thing I'll say to this too is that not everybody's problem is your problem. Yes, you're here to solve problems, but not all problems are meant to be fixed by you. Yes, we're here to solve problems, but not all problems are here to be solved by you. And you might know how to solve it, but some sellers don't want to work with you right now. And that's okay. And that's why follow-up is important because one day they'll come around and say, hey, so and so really could have helped me with my problem. Maybe I'll call him back because I know he can help me with my problem. And if you know how to solve the problem, that's when you get the deal. And it's all about finding the people with the problem that are ready to solve it now. And that's where you're in the space of getting more deals and better deals, and you'll create good opportunities.